Hello, my name is Benjamin from CorelDRAW, and in this part of the laser pattern design crash course brought to you by CorelDRAW, I'll be taking you on introduction to computer graphics software, in this case Corel Graphics Suite. So I chose Corel Graphics Suite for its simplicity in coming up with designing patterns. Okay, there are many pattern design softwares out there, but for beginners especially, it's a stepping stone, okay, to open up your ideas to how patterns and everything it's made. And aside that, it has all the necessary tools and all that is required in coming up in making or designing patterns. So for the part of the course, we'll look at the CorelDRAW interface and workspace, generally the GUI, that's graphic user interface. And from there again, we'll get used to CorelDRAW terms like nodes, midpoint, edge, the hint tab, object tab, color palettes, and all that. And we're also looking to how to make use of the tooltip text. Okay, tooltip text is just a basic, it's a very simple function, that guides people on how to use particular tools or to find a way around the software. So without wasting much time, I'll be turning my camera now to show you the graphic user interface.
Alright, so I'm on my screen again once more, and just as I've earlier said, this is the second part of the laser pattern design crash course brought to you by CorelDRAW. And the second part, I'll be taking you guys in introduction to computer graphics software, and in this case we'll be looking at CorelDRAW Graphics Suite. Okay, so before I'll go further, I'm sure by now we must have made available some of the tools that we need for this course. Okay, first is a computer, right, and second is a 3-button optical mouse, and the last one for sure our printers and paper, specifically an A4, because we'll be using the A4 size for most of our patterns for now. But if you have a bigger printer that can print bigger sizes of paper, good and fine, it's still okay. All right, so for the course, that's the second part of the course now, which is the introduction to computer graphics software, in this case CorelDRAW Graphics Suite. We'll look at the CorelDRAW workspace and interface, which is generally the GUI, the graphic user interface, and I will also look at the simple function. There's a tooltip text, which is just a simple function, to show you around, more like give you hints or tips on basic tools and other functionalities on the workspace. And as from there, we'll also proceed to learn CorelDRAW terms like node, midpoint, edge, hint and tab. That's a hint tab, sorry, and the object tab, color palette, and many more. So without wasting much time, I'll be launching the CorelDRAW software right now, so that we'll start from there. Okay, so this is my desktop. I'll just see the icon here on the desktop already. So but before we get started, for this course I'll be using CorelDRAW 2020, but if you have any versions of CorelDRAW, you should be able to still do the job, because over time CorelDRAW has really kept the standard in making their softwares, their version of software, like they're very like they are almost similar, but adding more functions to them. But on the general note, sorry, they are similar. So let me say I have CorelDRAW 2020 and you have CorelDRAW maybe X7. You should be able to still do the same thing we are doing in this course. So I'll be launching the software right now. I'll just double click, and this is a splash screen. Okay, it just shows the software is running and you can see some text moving. So creating application environment. So it's just okay. So right now it has loaded to this point. Okay, so if you're using CorelDRAW, or if you've been using it, you will see some documents you've worked on here. You get, so these how they appear. But if it's your first time, you might see a different thing here, but it's still fine. Okay, so generally it's a CorelDRAW application, fully open the workspace now. Okay, so for us to start a new project, you can see this new document here, this plus sign. You just click it. So when you click it, it will bring up this window for you. Okay, so here you can see the name. We can name this, I can just give it a name. Okay, so later sorry, leader pattern design. Okay, so most times you just leave this one blank. Number of pages, just leave it the default, which is 1. Then for primary color mode, it depends. I prefer using the RGB because it's more universal, but CMK is also universal. So depending on what you want, or depending on how your printer is configured, you can choose any of these color primary color mode, but most times I go with RGB. Okay, then for the dimension, you get, so here this is the paper size. For most of the project we'll do, for this particular course, I would like us to stick to the A4 paper size, because in fact it's universal. You can find A4 paper size almost everywhere. Okay, it's more like the standard here, but it's still okay. So A4, we'll leave it A4, but if you want to choose other paper sizes that your printer can handle, you can go ahead. There's A3, so you can just go ahead and choose any of the ones you want. Okay, so this is the dimension of the paper, in millimeters. So you can come here also to change your unit, so millimeter, pixels, depending on what you want, you can set it from there. So the resolution, you can just leave it default 300 dpi, that's dot per inch. It's perfect for all the patterns we might be making, so it's okay. All right, the orientation, you can leave it as a portrait or landscape. It's all what you want. Okay, anyone you can go with it. So for now we are good to go, so we just hit the OK button. All right, so we are now on the graphic user interface proper. So you can see everything from edge to edge. This is a CorelDRAW work. So first of all, the first part I'll be explaining in terms of the GUI is the toolbox. Okay, so this column here is a toolbox. You can see them, all these are all tools. Okay, this is a toolbox, and basically it contains all the tools that will be using to create our patterns and all that, and designs generally. It contains the tools. Okay, so when they are located here, so you can see plus. You can also add some other items. There are some other tools which are not listed here because there are many more tools, but they're just for the standard, for like the default setting. These are the ones that usually come up. Okay, so the next one we'll move to the document tab. This is the document tab. So it's just a tab. So like you remember we created this leader pattern, it's a document, right? So we created the name, so you can see the tab here on the top. Okay, so as we keep on creating more documents, you can just hit, you can see this plus sign, you can hit it, you can see start a new document. You can create a new document by just clicking it. Okay, so the next part is the title bar. So the title bar is this top side, okay, which contains the name of our file still. Same thing with CorelDRAW 64-bit and leader pattern design. Okay, so that's the name of the file. So that's the title bar. It contains it just contains the title, the name of the file. Okay, that's the name of the document still. So the next one we'll look at the menu bar. So underneath the title bar we have the menu bar. So it's almost standard with other applications, with the help of ISO. In terms of software development now, they have kept things almost similar so that it will ease the use for people, and also the universal, like the standard worldwide. Okay, so underneath the title bar we have the menu bar, which contains files, edit, view, and the menus of CorelDRAW graphic software. So the next one is a toolbar. Okay, so this is a toolbar. Remember I told you we have the toolbox, and this is a toolbar. Okay, that's underneath the menu bar. Okay, we have the toolbar, and it just contains some other tools, for work. All right, the next one is now the drawing window. The drawing window is this entire white space you are seeing here. Is the drawing window, and that's where we do the bulk of the work. It's just more like your decks. Okay, that space you see on your decks, that's just the drawing window there. Okay, the next one is the ruler. Okay, this is the origin. So this is the ruler, and it also comes with this side. So there are actually two. Okay, so there is a horizontal one ruler and the vertical ruler. Okay, so they work the same way. All right, so the next one is the document palette, okay, which is this side. So let me just throw in some elements here and give them call. Let me throw a box here, and let me throw a pentagon here. All right, so let me color this guy blue, and you can see the blue is updating on the document palette, and I'll color this one red. You can see red is added, and I'll color this one this color. You can see this the document palette now is getting all the colors for all the document palette. The document palette will get all the colors used for the project. Okay, so you can see as I've worked on this page or this document, as I'm using the colors, it's adding all the colors so that we can easily come back and make reference to it. So let me say I want to create a cycle again, but I want to give it a red color. I can just go, and the particular I can just go and just click red, so it works the same way. Okay, so the next one we'll see here is the document navigator. Okay, so the document navigator is basically you can see here, this tab is the document navigator. So this is page 1. So let me create another page. You can see page 2. So the document navigator helps us navigate through documents easily. Okay, just like how you have this other one here to start a new document. You can see the same window comes up and we fill in the details and to create the document. So that's similar with the document navigator. Okay, let me delete that page, we don't need it. So that's that. And the next one is the drawing page. Okay, so remind, this is a drawing window, right? The white space. Then the drawing page is this inner one. Okay, and it is the size of the A4 paper we initially chose. You can see A4 paper here, so this is the size. Okay, so let me go ahead and change it to another paper. So let me say A3. You can see it became bigger and it's now showing A3. So that's it for the drawing page. Okay, so the next option is the status bar. So this is the status bar, is just underneath the document palette. Okay, so the status bar is just contains like some nitty-gritty information. So let me click on this file. You can see it says rectangle on layer 1. Okay, click it again, polygon with file. So it just gives you some level of nitty-gritty information that you will need. Okay, that's it for the status bar. Then the navigator bar, the navigator. Okay, this small magnifying lens is a navigator. Okay, so let me say we walk and we have like large patterns that are spread across the screen that we can't view at a time. Let me drop this here. Okay, I will also drop this to this side of the screen. Okay, so if we go to the navigator, you can see you can quickly navigate. It brings out that window. So how you go there, you mouse over the button. When this cross sign shows, you click your left button of the mouse and you can see you can move them up and down depending on how spread your work is. Okay, so that is it. That's it for the navigator. The next one is the color palette. Okay, so the color palette is this side. Okay, you can see where all the colors, I was lifting the colors from. These are the color palettes. Okay, and this where you actually choose color from for your project. Okay, let me say you need to turn this to a green. You just click it and you click green. Okay, you want to turn this to black, you click it, you click black. That's how it works. Okay, and basically that's all about for the GUI. That's a workspace. Okay, so as I've earlier said, some part of the course that will also be covered is the tooltip text and the node. So let me start with the tooltip text now. So back to the CorelDRAW window. Okay, so the tooltip text automatically with your arrow, that's your pointer now on your mouse. Okay, you can just hover on any of these two. You can see this small window that comes out is a tooltip text, and it will tell you the name of the tool, rectangle, and the shortcut key for it F6. So draw square and rectangles by dragging in the drawing window. Okay, so if I click it and I click and drag, you see I'm drawing a square. So that is what the tooltip text is. So if you mouse over, so this is a pick tool. Okay, select position or transform object. You can see it. Same thing with the alphabet, the text tool here. Sorry. So add and edit paragraph and article. So those information showing when you mouse over things. Okay. Same thing with the color here. It will tell you the color, the RGB value you get. So that's the tooltip text. That's just a simple function. So if you don't know anything, you're lost or something, you can just mouse over that thing. It will give you a hint. You can see, I don't know this, I mouse over here, it will give me a hint. Okay, so to guide you on how to find your way or find the functions of how the things you're seeing on the interface work. So that is it for the tooltip text. So the next one there is the node. Okay, so when we are working with CorelDRAW, okay, let me just pick up these two. Let me create you can see this is just simple. It is just a simple curve. Let me zoom in again. So a node is just a point. That's just the simplest notification. So with that, with the tooltip, you can see I pick my pick tool. Okay, if I just mouse over it, you can see it's telling me node. It's telling me it's small text then node. Okay, so as we mouse, you can see we have edge. So what it's telling that this curve now has a node, and it also has an edge. Okay, so like that. So this edge still comes down, and this is the node still. You can see. So this is a node, this is the edge. You can see. So CorelDRAW automatically tells you okay where you are and all that. Okay, so the next point, okay, we have covered for node, we have covered for edge. So these two guys, we've covered them. Then we go to midpoint. Now midpoint is familiar with, let me say, this object, let me say this rectangle now. Okay, you can see this is the center, right, of this rectangle. So when you see this X in any of those objects or elements you place on the work file, it signifies the center. Let me check it for the curve. You can see center. You can see. So what it means is just the center of the element you've placed on the workspace. That's what it means. So this is the center of the rectangle. Okay. So when we move further, you can see this is the midpoint of the rectangle. Okay. The rectangle also has a node. Okay, and it also has an edge. You can see. So that is it for the midpoint. And so almost every object or element, so this is center, this is edge, and this is, in fact, that of a cycle. So if you have something called quadrant, so if you're good with your math skills and your geometry skills, you can see some of these terms also. So quadrant, edge, you have another quadrant, you get. So for polygon it might be different. So you have node, edge, you can see. And this is also what the center. Okay, this is also the center. All right, then proceed to the hint tab. Okay, so we have covered this tree and more. Then we move to the hint tab. So the hint tab on the interface, let me go to the CorelDRAW interface. So the hint tab is here. So we can just click here. Sometimes if you just install CorelDRAW, you might see it there. So it guides people to, it's just like the name implies, hint. It captures hints of properties and objects, or generally about anything. If there's a hint for it, you see it on the window. So for you to activate, you can just come here and check this box, hint. Okay, so you can see the tab, it's already there. So if I click on polygon, so it will tell me the hint. Okay, sorry, if I click on this polygon, it will tell me move scale. So these are just basic hints. Okay, let me click on rectangle. Okay, these are all shapes, so you see a different hint for different elements. Okay, or different tools. Let me click this. You can see this is a shape tool. So if I click on it to give me idea, okay, shape curves, you can shape it. So you just read through to shape a curve by using a node, drag the node. Okay, so let me create a node here by double clicking. I click, I drag the node. I am now changing, using the shape tool now to give this curve a shape. Okay, so that is just it with the hint tab. Then the next one again, we move to the object tab. Okay, so the object tab too, it's also very handy, especially when you are trying to find your ways. So the object tab is also here. I use it a lot because it shows you like the general overview, all what you have been doing. Okay, so this is the first layer. You can see this curve is here, this is a curve here, so this rectangle. So as you're clicking them from the object tab, you will see that they are highlighted. If I go back now to you can see, let me click the pick tool. So if I say curve, you can see it's selecting this rectangle, this. So sometimes you might be working with a lot of files and you don't know where some things are. You can also locate the object file and find it yourself there. You get. So that is it with the object tab. So it's just like a hierarchical structure of whatever that is going on in this flat space. So from here now it's following a hierarchy. You get. So the first, if you remember, the first element we created, it's a blue cycle. See it there, followed by the rectangle, polygon. So it follows a hierarchy according to how things are created on the workspace. Okay. So the next place is the color palette, which we have discussed before. So the color palette is just this side where we pick colors from and all that. So that is just that's just the basic of the whole graphic, the whole CorelDRAW graphic user interface. And mind you, how the previous part of the course we talked about vector and raster images. You get. So this CorelDRAW graphic suite is a computer graphics software used for vector. It's a vector-based computer graphics software. Okay, it's not a raster-based. CorelDRAW also have their own raster-based software, which is Corel Photo Paint. Okay, just like how you have Photoshop. Okay, Photoshop is also a raster-based computer graphics software, which deals in pixels and all that. But here is a vector. CorelDRAW graphics suite is a vector. CorelDRAW graphics suite. So when you say CorelDRAW graphics suite, now you're talking about the whole package that comes with this suite, which is basically let me go to my desktop, which is basically CorelDRAW, Corel Photo Paint, Corel Font. So it's a suite. So when you single one out, it's just that one. So we are singling CorelDRAW out. So CorelDRAW is it's a vector-based computer graphics software. The equivalent for Adobe is also Adobe Illustrator, but we're not dealing with that right now. We are just basically going to work with CorelDRAW graphics software, which is a vector-based software. So whatever you'll be doing here is vector-based. However, it also has a function for you to work with a raster, but majorly it is a vector-based software. So I hope you've really enjoyed or grabbed something from this part of the course. See you in the next one. Bye.
There you have it. We have come to the end of the second part of the ladder pattern design crash course brought to you by CorelDRAW, which is the introduction to computer graphics software, in this case CorelDRAW. So I'm sure by now you must have accustomed yourself with the CorelDRAW graphic user interface and know some of the parts of the GUI, such as the toolbox, the toolbar, the menu, color palettes, and all that. And I'm sure you also learned about the tooltip text and also some CorelDRAW terms such as node, midpoint, edge, etc. Okay, so keep on practicing and make sure you get used to this environment, because for the later pattern you spend a lot of time on this software, so you should get yourself familiar with things around, so it will really go a long way to ease you in making use of the software. So I'll be seeing you in the next part of the course. Bye.